Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the library session. I'm Brenda, I'm one of the college librarians. And with me today, I've got Sophia from event planning and Amy Simpson from the library. So they're gonna keep an eye on the questions in the Q&A and keep me on point. I love libraries and love research. So I have a tendency to get overexcited about them and talk too much. So they're going to keep me in line and make sure that I'm asking any questions or answering any questions that you're asking about the library. At this time, before we begin, if you could put in the Q&A and share with me any questions you might have about the library before we start, so I can make sure that I cover them through this session. Okay, so if you have any questions, this is now the time to share them. And I saw someone with their hand up a few minutes ago, so this is the time. So let me know about any of your burning library questions. So we usually get this question quite often. It's a very popular question. It's, can I get my books on my book list at the library? And the question is, it depends. Okay. The library in general has a policy to not purchase textbooks. So we do not purchase textbooks. That would be more than our entire budget to purchase textbooks. One of the things that we have not been able to do is what we used to do is have library teachers put a print copy of their textbook on reserve. Okay. Currently, though, the physical library is not staffed, so we have not been able to do that. And unfortunately, many textbook providers do not love selling textbooks to libraries because they know we're going to loan it to many people. So they make it very difficult for the library to buy textbooks. Yeah, so our collection on site, the physical collection and the online collection could have your textbook in them if we bought them as part of a bundle, but we don't intentionally buy textbooks. And certainly, yes, you can borrow books from the library. I'll go through the policies and the procedure for borrowing from the print collection, which we now can do, okay? Right, and if you have questions during, that's great, but these are questions I want to cover at the beginning because what you just asked me are some of the most popular questions we get asked, particularly in this time when we're not sure what's going on. And that normally you might have come on campus during lunch between classes and explored the library on your own, but now you may be home and never on campus. So we'd like you to know what is different. So we'll go through about what type of books are in the collections. We'll talk about that and the online services. So you'll know what is the difference between being able to go to the library and the physical face-to-face services and how we're handling those services online instead. Okay, so these are all services you can participate in online. The good thing for those of you that are worried about finding materials to support projects and research that you're doing is the physical collection is actually very small. Okay, so the physical collection, talking about Ottawa, Perth, and Pembroke campuses, is maybe 50,000 items altogether, which sounds like a lot, but is very small for a library of our size. Okay, so that collection cannot be browsed by students right now. So you can't go in and wander around the stacks because we would have to put them in quarantine for 72 hours after students have been in browsing them. So you cannot browse the stacks at this time. This is where our catalog comes in very handy. So 50,000 physical items in the 3 collections at the 3 campuses, right? The online collection alone has over 250,000 ebooks. So the ebooks are available to you. And we'll talk a lot about the electronic resources. So I would say now our library collection is 10% physical, 90% online. So wherever you are, as long as you have an internet connection and a library account, which we'll talk about, you can access the library. Okay, so as we go, I will try to cover this difference because it might be of concern to you. All right. So I'm going to cover down here, so this is the library's website, algonquincollege.com/library. We're really happy we're called library right now because they often try to make library sexy and exciting by giving us names and then no one knows what we are. So we're the library. So this is our website and you can see there's a lot of real estate given to this one search, okay? This is the main tool for searching the library collections and accessing electronic resources, all right? But I'm gonna come down here and the handout for today is under tools for online learning. Okay, so that's where you can come back to if I don't explain something well, which could happen. You want to check on and find out the difference of the tools and what we're using and what we're offering during the COVID. Okay, just checking the questions for a second and then I'll get going. Excellent. All right. So tools for online learning is our handout. So I'm just going to open that and I'll sort of run through what we're doing. All right. Okay, so we have an update. For those of you thinking about the physical collections at the three campuses, because I don't know what campus you're attending, all right? So we do have a means for you to borrow the physical library. Unfortunately for you and me, you cannot browse the collections. And that is when you go in and you look at the books and you get to take them down and flip through them a little bit and pick the right ones. Because the idea of the library collections is that the stuff that has to do with whatever program you're doing or the topic you're doing is always in around the same place. So I always found that when I was doing my undergrad, I would go to my library, I would go to the third floor, I would go to the right corner, and there was all my books right there. So I browsed a lot. I didn't use the library catalog or the library search tool very much, okay? To use the physical collections now using the online tools, the OneSearch or the catalog, which we will go back to look at, which are on the main page, is what you need to do because you have to put a request into us and ask for us to set aside a particular title for you, okay? And that would be done using your library account, which we'll talk about in a minute. So to put a hold, if you use a public library, a hold will make sense to you. It's saying, I want this, put it aside and make it available for me to pick up when it's convenient for me, okay? And you can even ask for things from other campuses to be brought to your campus, okay? Because all three campuses are in the one catalog, all right? So to be able to ask for a physical book to be put aside for you, you need three things, okay? Your library account to place the hold when you're in the library tool, your student card, which is also your library card, okay? And you have to come on campus to get your student card if you have not got one, all right? So there's more information down below about getting your library and student card, okay? 3, you have to be able to come on campus, okay, to pick up the item, okay? At Perth and Pembroke, when we're not in lockdown, there are 2 days a week where you can go on campus and library staff will be there to pass you, check out your book, okay? At the Ottawa campus, it's completely contactless. We have what's called a book locker. So you would go into the catalog, you would place a hold on an item using your library account. I'll show you this later. That will send a note to us. We'll go and get the item or items from the collection and place it in our book locker. If you've never been on campus before, the book locker is in the library in Ottawa campus on the 3rd floor over the courtyard. Okay, so right upstairs. So you have all this main services are in the downstairs, then you have the main floor, and then you have the 3rd floor, okay? To return the items, you have 2 places you can return the items. One is next to the book locker. We have a main desk that has a slot in it with lots of arrows pointing to the return. And then at the main doors for C building, the main building, we also have a drop-in, so it's easy to go in and just squish into the box your item, okay? I just checked the questions again. There's lots of chatter going on. Excellent stuff, people. Okay. Right. So I had a question there about college ID and password. Your college ID and password is completely different than your library account. Your college ID and password is your network account. So that's what you would need to be using, okay, for anything to do with your courses. Your library ID is only for the library, okay? So if you have a textbook, the textbook would be using your network account, which you would find through ACIS, A-C-I-S-I, I hope. All right. Digital materials. Our digital materials are available in PDF format and also several other formats. We have several different ways for you to access materials. If you have a sight or perceptual disability, we have another way of being able to get materials for you in at least six different ways that can be used if you have perceptual difficulties. So please ask us or contact the library if we have an item and it's a physical and you would like it in an online format, but you must have a perceptual difficulty for us to deal with that, okay? If you are off campus or like in another country, apparently students have been telling me that they have been finding it really easy to apply for a student card at Algonquin, but they can't get one because they can't come on campus. So if you cannot come on campus, you cannot have, unfortunately, a library card at this time or a student card at this time. Okay, and I will show you where the login is for that information. So any questions about the borrowing of physical items from the collection? Okay. Remember, these items are all to back up papers and research that you might want to be doing. Okay, so to be able to borrow physical items, you have to be able to come on campus, one of the 3 campuses, on the day when there's a person there. For Ottawa, it doesn't matter, okay? Then you need your student card, which is your library card at the Ottawa campus, and then you would need your library account, all right? Okay. I'll show you about the library account now that I've talked about it. All right. If you need to contact us and ask us questions like about your library account or about where the bookstore is or about how to find out anything, because we try to help you as much as we can. These are the different ways you can contact the library. And you might have noticed that at the bottom of the screen, I have a green button called Library Live Chat. Okay. So Library Live Chat is open usually 8 to 8, Monday to Thursday. Fridays we close at 5. Okay, so during the week, we have a real live person that you can text with and ask questions. And if your question is complex or your question involves using one of our tools, they can set up a Zoom session and do the session face-to-face with you. Okay, if you know that your question is going to be intense, you can book a research appointment online and we'll contact you by Zoom as well. Okay, our library workshops are all offered online, so you can sign up for them. And if you need help with a course or with something student-y, such as using Zoom, using Brightspace, writing papers, doing presentations, you can also book a coach, and those services are also available online. Okay, so now I'm going to get down to the library account, which you had lots of questions about. Okay, so once you start, whether you have a library card or not, you have a library account, okay? And your library account is based on your student number. And it authenticates you through the system so that it lets you into our services, okay? Our services are only available to Algonquin people, okay? So the public cannot, in general, access a lot of our services at all. And for our online resources, they are subscribed, which means the library pays for them on the behalf of all the Algonquin students, okay? Our online services would include things like magazines, journals, newspapers, scholarly articles, video, ebooks, reports, case law, okay? So that's all the stuff we pay for that we cannot permit other people in. So you need your library card to authenticate yourself into this material, okay? So in the old days, last year, you would have your student card, and on your student card would be your student number. So that is your library login, okay? Your PIN is the last 4 numbers of your student number, okay? I know you have a lot to remember, so don't worry about it. The login screen, which will come up if you click anywhere on our page that needs authentication. So if you click on something, a green screen will come up, and I will show you shortly. A green screen will come up, Algonquin green, very friendly, just like my wall. And it will ask you for the login and the PIN. And it will remind you that your login is your student number and your PIN is the last 4 numbers of your student number. And you do not need a library card or student card to access these resources, okay? You just need your library account, all right? If you go into this information under library account, it'll link you to the page information on how to get a student card, okay? So it'll link you to that page and go through the entire process. Many people tell me it's a very easy process. You would fill out the forms and send in a picture. And then you need, unfortunately, to come on campus to pick it up. They don't mail them out to you. So being in Ottawa is what you do need, or Pembroke or Perth, to pick up your card is what you need. But you are not barred from access to the library if you are not in Ottawa. You have the online resources, okay? We're doing okay with the information about your card. The library is, because we pay for Algonquin students, your account will expire when you graduate, okay? Yeah, because once you're not an Algonquin student anymore, then now you're not counted in our number for our rights to use certain products, all right? So get in there and use it as much as you can. Also explore your public library. Your public library does have a lot of online resources that are really terrific as well, and you can use them. So while you're a student, why not have access to your public library, wherever that is, and Algonquin's library? More stuff is good, okay? So what can we do with your library account? All right, we're gonna talk about using the OneSearch tool, which is the main tool on our front screen. And what you can search through the OneSearch is materials that would be in the old-fashioned library catalog, so books and videos, okay? And then all the different digital resources we have, okay? So the digital resources and the content in the library catalog make up what you can search in the OneSearch, okay? So it's like Google, but it searches the library content, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So that's what I'm going to cover today, is the OneSearch and OneSearch, digital resources, and the subject guides. All right, so we'll talk about that in a second. I also want to let you know that underneath here, there is the student survival guide and the well-being and the online environment. Okay, so these are guides to help you be healthy and happier while doing all these online materials, and some tips and tricks for learning online. Okay, so it's all good stuff here. So this stuff is all under the tools for online learning on the library page. So that acts as my handout for what I'm speaking about today. All right. Any final questions about just the overview of the library before we get into a few minutes of detail? So now we're going to talk about the collection and what you can access. Good question. Can we come on campus and pick up a student or library card right now? So Sophia's going to answer that question. Thank goodness. I wasn't sure how to answer it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the library main page. All right, so this is the page that is going to be your friend for the rest of your time at Algonquin. Okay, and for many of you who've never been on campus, this will be your library. All right. Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is that a lot of people find our website very overwhelming, okay? Because they come in and they're not sure what the OneSearch is, what it's searching, and what is available for me. Because the OneSearch and the tools that you see here are available for everyone at Algonquin College, okay? So what if you want to know, I'm in nursing, what are the tips and tricks I need to know to use the library? What is available for me from the library if I'm in nursing or any other program, okay? So what we came up with is the subject guide, and a subject guide is actually your best starting point for learning about the library for your program, okay? Many libraries do subject guides in different ways. Sometimes they're called LibGuides, but they're excellent as a starting point for learning about what the library has for you. So I'm just going to click on subject guides to go in, because sometimes when you're looking at the OneSearch, you're not sure what's in it. This will give you a better explanation of what's in our page and in the subject guide, or in the OneSearch, sorry. Okay, so here we have the subject guides. So what they are mini portals on the library for different program areas. We also use them for different projects and different subjects. For example, we have a subject guide on citing and making bibliographies and things like that. That is our most popular subject guide. So that is the guide that will support you on that topic. So you can browse the different subject guides we have, so you can find more about what your library has for you, or you can look at all of them. So we have 142 different guides. So we start off trying to do them by subject area or program area. Right? So these are great, particularly if your area does a lot of in-depth research. So we can go into nursing, we can go into any of these. If anyone wants me to go into a particular one, tell me and I will go right into it. Okay, just to take a look. Oh, business and marketing. Oh yes, that's my favorite guide. Thank you. All right. So it's very interesting. I actually have two guides. One is business and entrepreneurship, and one is advertising. So I should have the advertising guide there as well. That's a really tricky topic to deal with because you have media and design does advertising, and then you have business that does marketing, right? And the resources overlap with each other. And our business guide is quite different than a lot of our guides. If faculty work with us a lot, the guide grows, okay? So if I go to the business guide, the business and entrepreneurship guide, they're alphabetical. There's business and entrepreneurship. This one has grown, okay, just because of the feedback from faculty. And so many topics are covered in the business area. So normally we talk about the topic, okay, advertising, for example, what books and videos are available, what databases or digital resources are available, starting web point information, okay, something about research, and something about citing and avoiding plagiarism. That's the material that's in all our guides. This guide has gotten crazy and built out. So under each heading, we'll cover what the library has and then give you a little starting point on what the web has. Okay, so if I go into marketing, on one side I'll see library resources, so books that we have, just to give you a sampling, ebooks that we have, video products that we have. Our video collection is very vast, it's big. And once upon a time, I used to say to the students, we don't have exciting videos, we have educational videos. But now because we have a film studies program, we actually have first run films. So even if you're not in the film study program, you can use your library account to come in and view relaxing, engaging video. Okay, so under the video, we mentioned some of the video content we have. And under fine articles is when we talk about the different subscriptions that we have. So those are the digital resources to which we subscribe, usually as a bundle, sort of like a database that's all together in one bundle. So you can see here, these are different individual collections by names with their description, okay? And you would want to search in an individual resource when it's not in the OneSearch or when it does something extra special. Okay, some of them do special things. When they're in the OneSearch, they can't do the special things. Okay, or when you want to focus on a particular thing. For example, say you know you want to search in newspapers. Okay, you can definitely search in newspapers in the OneSearch, but there's also a Canadian newspaper database. So if I search in the Canadian newspaper database, I know I'm going to be searching Canadian newspapers and there will be no clutter in my search. Okay, if I search in OneSearch, my search will be a lot bigger and I might get other content. Okay, so these are the building blocks, the individual databases are the building blocks that make the OneSearch content. Okay, so you can see the different individual ones we have for each different subject area. Okay, and there's some of the journals as well. Okay, and over on the side here, we have some of the web content. Why do we include web content? Don't we think you can search Google? Yes, we do, but sometimes the good sites may be pushed down far in a Google search. So these are some of the websites that when a student is talking to us and we're doing research with them, these are the sites that end up coming up a lot. So these are the of the well-used websites on this topic area. Okay, well-used, well-maintained, up-to-date. Okay, not junk, right? So sometimes you do a search, you're sure you're going to find something, and you're like, this isn't what I expected. You can come back to your subject guide for your topic area and see if we cover what you were looking for. Okay, so subject guides get very big. Each subject guide has citing sources and avoiding plagiarism in it. Okay, this topic, very important at Algonquin College. It's so easy to slip into accidental plagiarism. Okay, accidental plagiarism is when you seem like you're taking credit for someone else's work, and you can do that accidentally by not knowing how to use citation. And there's many different formats of citation used at the college. So we provided several different resources on how to do citation. And I actually teach it. No one love citation, but the point is that you as an author can avoid falling into accidental plagiarism by using a citation format that is requested for you to use by your faculty member. So we support as many different formats as we can. Okay, so there is a handout for APA format, which is very popular at Perth and Pembroke, and also Ottawa. Ottawa also uses other formats, for example, IEEE and MLA. Okay, so these are different formats for using your sources in your papers. We also have an online course that you can do in your own time on APA, if APA is your format. Okay, your teacher will let you know what format to use and will give an introduction to you in your class. This usually happens in a research class or in a communications class. But just remember, you're supported here, a lot more resources on how to use citation formats to avoid plagiarism. Okay, and I teach a workshop on it. Okay, so that's the subject guides. So I just want to let you know that these give you a little bit more information about what the library has for you specifically. Okay, and there are some classes that I do come and visit. So you may be in one of those. All right, so back to the library. Now we're going to get into the big deal, the OneSearch. How do I use the OneSearch? If you're good at Google, you will be excellent at searching the OneSearch, okay? So Google is out there, it's open access stuff. If you are asked to search particularly for magazines, journals, newspapers, that kind of content, that is difficult to not find on the internet. You can find it, but to access on the internet, okay? Because on the internet, they want to make money. So you can definitely find really good articles, but they won't give you the full text of the article, the actual article, until you pay for it, okay? The idea of the subscriptions the library has is that 75% of the items that you find, we've already paid for the full text content, so it will be there, okay? Particularly for those of you that have to find scholarly journal articles, okay? So high-end professional to professional articles. Those are very difficult to find for free using Google. So this is where you want to start, okay? So that's the difference between the content. This is all subscribed and paid for and organized. The internet, not so much organized, okay? And there are a little bit more tools involved and refined to make your search tighter. I don't say use the library tools all the time and avoid Google. I say use them together, okay? So the OneSearch will search across most of the digital resources we have, okay? And most of the books, ebooks, video, and e-video that we have, okay? So if I search in here, I'm searching that materials, okay? In the subject guide, it will mention individual digital resources that are useful for you, okay? So if a resource is not able to work with OneSearch, you have to know that name specifically. So if any of you are in legal studies, in paralegal, your law databases, you will know them by name, and you will find them in your legal subject guide, or you will find them going here under digital resources. Digital Resources will give you the full list of each subscription that we have. And my dog is joining me. Go away. He's very cute, but I don't want him to join me at this time. All right. So if I come down here, this is all the different databases we have. We have them available by alphabet. So when your teachers tell you in class, I want you to do this research and you'll be using Quick Law, you can come to the Q's, my legal study people, my police and public safety people, and find the Quick Law database and go into it. The idea is that the legal databases are so complex, not complex to use, but compared to other databases, that they can't work with OneSearch. They blow it up, okay? So if you're looking for a legal resource, you pretty well are going to use it by itself, okay? In business, I have some resources that are not in the OneSearch as well. Most of the time, your teachers will mention the names to you. One of them that I can think of is CARD. That would be used by advertising and marketing. So I can go to C and I can find CARD. Okay. CARD Online is the advertising rates book. So if you ever wanted to find out how much it would cost to have an ad on the back of a bus, this is where you would go. Okay. If you're just wondering what we have, you can come down here and see what databases we have or subscriptions we have by topic. So there's the full list. Oops, I got to turn off my letters. There we go. Okay, so this is why an example of why OneSearch is handy. Okay, my business person. Okay, we have 48 different online resources for business. Okay, so if I told you to do a good search in business, you have to individually go into 48 different databases. And these databases all come from different companies and all search differently and all have a different interface. You would say, I never want to use the library again because that's crazy. Okay, all right. So one way to search most of these databases together and do a very thorough search in business is to use the OneSearch. Okay, the OneSearch gives you the ability to search across multiple resources in one search. That's why we call it search. And also the look and interface of it is the same no matter what database you're searching. So you don't have to learn a whole bunch of different interfaces, okay? So for most students, OneSearch is all they need. For more in-depth research, you might have to learn a specific database. But in the most case, some students use OneSearch all the time and it's enough for them because it searches across resources, okay? Okay, so you get that when you go into one, it may look different and your search will be smaller and more specific, okay? The other thing down here under digital resources I like is the database type list, okay? So if you're wondering, does the library have certain things? So it's great, I'm just gonna get under there again. Say I wanna know about videos, okay? So now I have the list of 18 different subscriptions we have with video content. So I can see all the different video content databases, okay? I can search them all in the OneSearch, okay, by title, but there'll be a lot of clutter. I'll get other stuff, okay? So I can go straight in. For example, Criterion On Demand. Remember I said there's a database we have that has fun video in it? Are you tired of being at home? Are you running out of things to watch on Netflix? Criterion On Demand is the database for you. And now you know how to find it by coming under the OneSearch, going into the digital resources list and finding it by alphabet. So this gives you an idea of what we have and what's in each different pocket, okay? But for most students, I find OneSearch is all they need. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick search in OneSearch. Okay, and you may have at your college or other university or in high school used databases before. So they're like Google with more tools embedded in them, which is nice. Okay, there we go. So just like Google, you're going to put a topic in, okay? And then you're going to click search. Now, when I click search, what I want to do is see results that are from subscriptions at Algonquin College Library, okay? If I am not an Algonquin College person, I will not have my library account, okay? So I'm gonna click my search button. So anytime on our page, You click on something and a login screen comes up, you'll know that it's a subscribed resource. It's not available to the public. So I'm going to click search and drink tea. So this is the page you should see, okay? And I'm going to tell you that all of our resources use a library account except 2, just to be confusing, okay? And I really want to mention these 2 so you know them by name, so you can find them in the alphabetical list, okay? Because we've learned that, okay? The 2 unique databases that do not use the library account to access are something called LinkedIn Learning and something called Safari by O'Reilly. Okay, Safari by O'Reilly and LinkedIn Learning. And your faculty are gonna recommend these 2 databases to you because what they have in them is a lot of tutorials and mini workshops on learning different things, okay, and video, all right? So you may find your faculty members put some LinkedIn videos in your course. They're excellent. You can learn things that are immediate, like how to use Zoom, how to use Prezi for presentations. I took a course in LinkedIn on photography, okay? So they are available through our library website. You can find them when you search in OneSearch, but you can also go directly to those 2 databases. And what is the login? Brenda, tell us. What is the login for those 2 databases if it's not the library account? It is your network account, okay? So the login screen will be different than the one you're seeing here, all right? If you're seeing this one, it is telling you that your login is your student number and your PIN is the last 4 numbers of your student number. So you're sure of what you're going to put in there, okay? So my login is weird. And sometimes I forget it, so you can laugh at me if you want. And I did it wrong. If I have to run upstairs and get my login, I'm going to be really embarrassed. Hang on. I'm embarrassed already. This is the first time I've had to log in since last year. Oh, okay, I did it. This is so nice when you have your student card with you or you have something from the college, you know your student number, you remember it. All right, so this is what the OneSearch looks like. It's loading a little slowly there because we have everyone in this house on the internet right now. And what it does, it's a little different than Google. It'll be Google-like, but a little different, is that you see your results in the middle. Okay, so that's like Google. You see the number of results. Okay, so if I want something on global warming, I don't want to go through 497,000 items to find what I'm looking for. So there are tools within this to help you refine your search. And they are down the side, the right side of the tool, okay? So let's see what we have. I'm just gonna scroll down a bit. So the first thing I'm seeing here is an encyclopedia listing, okay? And this is important because people think that I'm gonna be anti-Wikipedia. I'm not against Wikipedia, but as a college student, you're expected to find resources that are the source for your information. Wikipedia gathers sources together, okay? And it's an encyclopedia, which in general is meant to be used by younger people, okay? But when you're coming up with the words and tools and idea for your searching and learning a little bit more about the important parts of the topic or alternate terms to come up with, looking at an encyclopedia is not a bad idea. So I wouldn't use this encyclopedia as a source in my paper. I would find out where that information came from, okay, before I source it. But I can look at it to find out different words to make my search better. So even without going in, I can see climate change and global warming. And I'm going to think that might change my search. So if I put down climate change and global warming, will my search get bigger or smaller? Okay. A good search is usually 3 words or more, unless your words are incredibly specific. Okay. So it did not change my search too much, but I got a more specific search. Okay. So you're always at the beginning, and this is the part students think is easy. Okay, writing your paper is easier often than coming up with the terms and words to make your search work. That's where the library can help you. All right, so let's look at our resources again. So now the first thing coming up is a video. So we try to use icons that are very good for you guys. You'll see them go, aha, I know what that is. It's a video. I was looking for videos. Okay, so you can go right into the video if you want to. Okay, then we could see an ebook. All right, now, remember I said we have 250,000 possible ebooks. So you might want to use one. So I'm just going to show you the steps on how to check out an ebook. Okay, most students do not check out the ebooks. Most students read them. So you can read it online by clicking online access. Okay, and here's the page where the book lives. Okay, and I can read online. That means I'm going to read it here. I have to be logged in to an internet to be able to access this book. Okay, what if I want to download it so I can read it on a Kindle or a device without being on the internet? Okay, then I'm going to go to download book. Okay, and I've noticed many students don't do this because there are 3 steps extra that you have to do to download an ebook. Okay, so I'm going to click on the download portion. And the first thing that comes up is make an account. Okay, and that puts a lot of people off. We have 2 platforms on which ebooks live. To be able to take a book offline, you have to make an account in that platform. Okay, it's your own account, you make it up. There are other things you can do with it, but it's mostly for taking ebook offline. Okay, and you would create it yourself and remember it yourself. Okay, and the next thing is you need to have a device or a tool to read the ebook in. Usually they'll prompt you to download Adobe Reader, which is free. Okay, so don't freak out when this comes up. This is not spam or anything. This is with the tool. And you might be asked that twice, once for each platform, but once you've done it, you never have to do it again. Okay. So I hope you do use the ebooks more because we have some really good content, particularly in the technical and business areas, especially. Okay. So we're seeing a lot of ebooks there. I see a book. There's a book. Yay. All right. So if you wanted, you were able to have a library account. You're able to come on campus and you have a student card. Okay. What you would do was place a hold on this item if you want to pick it up later. Okay. So I can go retrieve catalog item. All right. There's my item. And now we have a beautiful place hold button. I'm so happy with this. So place hold, let's see if it's going to work. Yes. So now it's asking you for what we already know, your student staff number and your PIN. Okay. So you can put those in and log in. And basically it's connecting that this book is being put on hold for you. And you can put a hold on any book from any of the 3 campuses. And then you can say, I want it to be brought to which campus, okay? And then we will send you an email when it's ready to be picked up and give you the details of how to pick it up depending on the campus that you're picking it up at, okay? So this is what you'll see if you want to place a hold on a book. All right, I do miss browsing the shelves a lot, okay? So the limiter, say if all you want is ebooks or video, okay? What is the ebooks or video in this huge lump of resources that we have? So if I come over to refine results, this is the extra stuff that I can't get on the internet. I wish I could. Okay, so I've got one box here that's limit 2. And what this is a box of refined tools or techniques that you can do on your search to ask for something specific. And this limit 2 box is the most popular ones. So we watched Algonquin students search, and out of the stuff below here, so we have resources and subjects and geography, all that stuff. We moved up one list of the most popular things that students are asking for. So students, they want full text, which means if it's an article, let me have the whole article. Don't do what Google does and make me pay for it, okay? Scholarly peer reviewed. That's here because so many students we have are only allowed to do research in scholarly journals. And when you're starting out, you're not sure the difference between a magazine or a scholarly journal when you see it online. So by clicking this, all the magazines and newspapers are gone from my search, and I just have the scholarly journal. So I can get comfortable with what they look like. Okay, there we go. So my search is now smaller because I'm asking, oops, I know why my search didn't work now. Why didn't someone call me on that? There we go. That makes a difference to my search. All right, so our search is much smaller because now we're saying global warming and climate change and just scholarly journal articles. Okay, so it's very easy. If you have an assignment where your teachers say, I want you to do research on this topic, and I want you to use 5 different source types. One search makes it really easy to do that. Okay, and there we can see the full text of the article and the PDF of the article. HTML is like a scan, is like a website version of the article. PDF is the scan of the article, the actual, how it looked like if you saw it in the magazine or journal. Okay, while we're here, okay, remember I mentioned citation avoiding plagiarism is very important. And a lot of people are nervous because they have to learn a citation format for the first time, okay? All the subject guides will get, all the databases will give you a little help with this, okay? So they have a citation feature within them. It's not cheating to use this. These are research tools, and they're just trying to anticipate what their users would like. So say I've looked at this article, I've opened it, I've read it. I think this is the perfect article to use for the research I'm doing, okay? So I have to read it. Remember, you have to read an article to use it. Okay, so this is the page where the article is, okay? And I can read the article, it's 5 pages long. Over to the side here are some tools I can use with the article, okay? And I hate these symbols because for a first-time user, you have to actually click over them to figure out what they are. So if you're a student who's working really fast, you might not enjoy these things, okay? You might miss out on what they mean. And it's too bad because they really could help you. I'm just going to show you them so you can see them a bit more clearly. I'm going to click on the title. So the title is only going to give me information about the article. The real article is still over here, all right? But now I can see those tools on the side here with some information, okay? And there's one here that says cite, okay? So if you're asked to do a bibliography, references, works cited for the paper you're writing, you want to look at the cite button. So I'm just going to open the cite button, okay? And you may not know what these are, but what these are by alphabetical order are different citation formats. So the most used one is APA, American Psychological Association, okay? So this is all the information that you would give the reader so they could find this article again, okay, on their own, all right? So I have my authors in proper order. I have the title in proper, in correct format, proper order, the source, and a link. Okay, so it gives you all these information. And you heard me just say they're not always correct. So it is up to you. They should be correct. It is up to you that if you use a citation generator, there's many on the internet, not just in databases, it's still up to you to make sure that your citation is correct. But it's right here. The other thing that's good about picking up this citation is people fall into accidental plagiarism because they keep the pieces of the sources they want to use in their paper. And then when they're writing up the paper, they forget where it came from, okay? So if you at least capture this and the article together, when you're writing up your paper, you have that information and you're not going to make mistakes with your citation, okay? All right, so that's what I wanted to show you. Do we have any time for final questions? We certainly can. I just want to get you into the OneSearch and Explore, or get you into, of course, the subject guides, or get you into the individual digital resources. That's what I wanted to get you into here. And now you know that you need a library account. Your library account should activate when your courses start. So today your library account should be working, All right. Any final questions? Okay, I'm seeing a question about the library OCLS account. I might have to take that one off and explore a little bit. Amy, would you be able to take a look at this question in the Q&A? I'm trying to figure where the OCLS is coming up. We just actually, the catalog portion is new for us. Unfortunately, for the textbooks, again, I know this is the most popular question we get asked this time of year. The library does not have the budget to purchase textbooks. And unfortunately, many publishers of textbooks do not sell them to libraries either. So rather than picking and choosing, like why do they have my textbooks and not others, we don't purchase on purpose any textbooks. That does not mean that we don't end up with them in our collection. Sometimes they do come with, say, if we buy an electronic bundle of ebooks, things that might end up being your textbook might end up in that, but we do not on purpose buy textbooks. Just can't afford it. To buy all the textbooks for the college physically would be more than what we pay for all our electronic and digital resources combined. So it would be quite big. And I totally empathize with the expense that students have with textbooks. I totally really understand. But I would not blame you for getting a public library account as well as a library account at Algonquin, just to make sure you can get different stuff. Okay. An in-depth question about citation. For this, there's different rules for how you lay out your reference and where you put your reference to. So that full information about the source, so you can find it again, depending on the type of citation format your faculty want you to follow, will be placed in your paper, different ways depending on the rules of that citation source type. Okay, so APA does it a little differently, MLA does it a little differently, IEEE does it a little differently. So you need to know that to find out where you would place a full reference. Okay, so library account, good stuff, not just for your courses, but you heard me say that LinkedIn has material in it that you can take courses on your own time for something that interests you. Or you can watch video that is entertaining as well. So the library does have a lot of resources for you as a person as well as a student. If you don't mention, the reason why I press and push the whole citation issue is because if you do not cite and tell the reader where resources come from within your paper or presentation, it's like you're saying, this is my work. Okay, so it's like you're claiming ownership of it. When you cite, you're saying to your reader, this is not my idea, but I'm using it to back it up. So when you put in a citation, you're saying this is not my idea. If you forget the citation, then the reader could assume that it's your idea. And then it would be considered plagiarism. So I teach workshops on plagiarism, avoiding it, of course, on how to do it, and a lot of workshops on APA and different methods of citation, as well as different methods of research. So those are available through our workshops as well, right? You guys were fantastic. You hung in there. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Don't forget, you can always contact us, live library chat. Okay, so that's what I wanted to cover for you today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your questions. I feel like I'm in a real library right now because there are questions, and I've really missed having questions from real students. So you're missed as much as you might miss being in class. Remember to come back if you have any more questions. It's not a problem. Thank you so much.